Hello family, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing great. In today's video I'm going to share with you 3 easy groundnut recipes that you're going to love. Let's get to today's video. I have some groundnuts right here. You can use peanuts if you have that at all. So this is worth $1. The first thing I'm going to do is to wash them. The first recipe that I'm going to be making is salt roasted groundnuts or salt roasted peanuts. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go ahead and fire up my stove. I'm then going to add my groundnuts. And then all I'm going to do is to add some salt to taste. So I'm not just going to go ahead and mix this up. So the salt is mixed together well with my groundnuts as shown in the video. So don't worry about how the cover of the groundnuts are looking right now. They are going to tighten with time. And since we are using a gas stove for this, you're going to be using low heat to roast these groundnuts. As you can see with time, the chaff is like starting to dry up and to tighten. So from here the trick is now to mix this continuously as I'm doing here. Okay, so I see the covers of the groundnuts are starting to turn a little bit black. That means the groundnuts are now ready. I'm just going to transfer the groundnuts here and then I'm going to let them cool. Our salt roasted groundnuts are ready and this is how they look. It's just as simple as that. I just rinsed my pan. This second recipe is garlic roasted peanuts. So right here I have a garlic clove that I chopped into pieces like this. So I'm going to add it to my pan right here as shown in the video. And then I'm going to add my groundnuts. Yeah. Some salt to taste. So you can use ground garlic for this. The main reason why you should wash your groundnuts before you roast them is mainly because you need to add salt to taste. So the groundnuts absorb the salt much better when they are a little bit wet rather than when they are dry. Okay, these garlic roasted peanuts are now ready too. I'm going to go ahead and again transfer them to this bowl here so they can cool. Okay, so now we are going to move on to the third recipe. So for this third recipe is a little bit complicated, that's why I set it for the last one. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and fire up my stove, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my groundnuts again. So for this recipe, you can use boiled groundnuts, or you can soak your groundnuts for at least 5 minutes, and then you're going to strain the water in them, and then you're going to set them aside for at least a few minutes so they can dry. Yeah, but for me, I decided to just use roasted groundnuts. For this recipe, I'm just going to be roasting the groundnuts the way they are. We are not going to be adding any salt to them. Okay, so from here, I feel like my groundnuts are now just enough. They are good to go. So all I'm going to do is to just let them cool. So right here, I have a cup of all-purpose wheat flour. To it, I'm going to add some salt to taste. I'll just add a little bit of salt, not so much. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. So the amount of salt and flour depends on the amount of groundnuts that you have. I don't have so much groundnuts, so that's why I used this 1 cup of flour. I'll just set this aside. And then right here, I have 3 tablespoons of sugar in my bowl here. So here again, the amount of sugar depends on the amount of groundnuts or peanuts that you have. And then to the sugar on my bowl, I'm going to add some milk. So again, the amount of milk depends on the amount of groundnut that you have. If you have so much groundnuts, you can use 2 eggs. Yeah. If you don't eat eggs, just use milk. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and add my milk in. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix this up. I'm going to mix it up until the sugar dissolves. My sugar is dissolved in. So here we go. Let me check on the groundnuts. I feel like they are a little warm still. So I'll just have to be patient and wait for them to cool down. After a few minutes, my groundnuts are now cold enough. I'm going to transfer my groundnuts here, and as you can see, there are pieces that separated. So for these pieces that separated, we are not going to need them. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to add my milk mixture. I'm going to add like 2 tablespoons of it in. So the trick here is to just add the wet and the dry ingredients bit by bit. If you do it once, this is going to be messed. Let me go ahead and add this in. I'm going to add another 2 tablespoons of this. And then I'm going to push this aside, and then all I'm going to do is to be shaking this. You're going to give it a shake, rock and roll, yeah, to mix them together. So when the nuts are sticking to each other like this, you're going to have to separate them. So if you are doing this, just make sure that you do it, like continuously after you give the nuts a shake, before you add like another batch of flour and some wet ingredients in. Just make sure that you go in and separate your nuts up. I'm now going to go ahead and continue adding my ingredients in. it's starting to come along really well. Okay, so here we go. My peanuts are now all coated, and as you can see, this is how they look. If you are trying to coat your peanut once like I was doing and you see that it's not working, you can just pick a few peanuts at a time or nuts at a time and then coat them and then move on and on again. That way it will be much easier. That's what I did actually. They were sticking so much to each other and giving me a lot of work, you know. So if you try a few at a time, it will be better. You'll finish up like really quick rather than when there's so much. So from here, I'm going to be straining the excess flour in them before I fry them up. I'm going to use this to strain them. Okay, so I have my karai here. I'm going to fire up my stove and then I'm going to add my oil. You can use a deep frying pan for this if you don't have a karai. As usual, I'm going to use my wooden spoon to test my oil. If it removes some bubbles in it like it's removing now, the oil is ready. So we are almost there. I want them to be a little more golden brown. I feel like this is still pale. And like you can see, my ants are adjusting, stirring it. Yeah. This is how this looks. I'm going to let them cool. So before I finish up on this video, so we are going to do a taste test, and you're going to be starting with salt roasted groundnuts. Yeah, they're so crunchy and the salt is on point, so that is okay. Right here I have my garlic roasted peanuts. So these are more garlicky. Garlicky is a word. Okay, so the garlic on this is really on point. That means the garlic that we added, the nuts absorbed it, so that is so good. The salt is okay, we didn't add so much salt. Now let's go ahead to these coated nuts here. Let's do a taste test. Oh, they're really crunchy, you guys. They're so crunchy, and the sugar on it is not so much, and it's just a little salty, so that is good. This coated peanuts or groundnut recipe that I did for the first time, and I loved how they turned out. Yeah, check out my other videos on my channel, and kindly make sure you subscribe to my channel for more easy and simple recipes perfect for ordinary families. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, and check out the playlist I made on my channel. I know you're going to love a bunch of my videos. Yeah. See you in my next video. Bye. Hello family, welcome and welcome back to the channel.